Man found guilty of murdering his former girlfriend had killed before.
42-year-old Mark Chivers strangled Maria Stubbings at her Chelmsford home last December. But in sentencing, it came to light that he'd previously served 15 years for an almost identical crime in Germany. Matthew Hudson has this report.
The face of Mark Chivers, who strangled Maria Stubbings with a dog lead just as he had killed a previous lover 16 years earlier. Police found Ms Stubbings' body hidden under clothing at her Chelmsford home in December 2008. Days earlier, she'd told police her ex-boyfriend had burgled her home. She was too scared of him to press charges, but an investigation was ongoing. Today, Chivers was given a whole life sentence. He'll spend the rest of his days in prison. Sentencing at Chivers, the judge said his actions had had a devastating effect on the victims' children, Celia and Richard, particularly on Richard, who had continued living in his mother's house for 3 days, unaware that her body was hidden in the downstairs toilet. Chivers had been staying there at the same time, having told Richard that his mother had gone away for a few days. Chelmsford Crown Court had Chivers served 15 years in a German prison after strangling his girlfriend Sabine Rappold in Stuttgart in 1992. The Independent Police Complaints Commission is still investigating how Essex Police dealt with Ms Stubbings' burglary complaint. The IPPC said, "We have been determined to carry out a deservedly full and thorough investigation to ensure that any possible learning for the police and other agencies from this disturbing case is gained." Chivers' barrister told the court there was no mitigation for what he'd done. Matthew Hudson, Anglia News, Chelmsford Crown Court.
Right, it's almost 12 minutes past 6. Do stay with us here on ITV Anglia. Up next, all the news from where you live.
Rachel is here to tell us more about the cold snap we're expecting, and we'll be finding out what they've had to say back home in Essex about Ollie Murr's big X Factor adventure. More news now from your part of the region, and 194 jobs are likely to go at a timber manufacturers in Lowestoft. Gerald Wen has announced it'll close its factory on Waveney Drive over the next few months. Staff and union representatives met on Friday to discuss the future of the site and have now been told the plant will close in the new year.
A man from Essex has today admitted causing a teenage girl's death by dangerous driving. 17-year-old Charlotte Blackburn from Dovercourt was walking in Harwich in May when she was hit by a car. 20-year-old Ryan Elmore from Devon Way in Harwich pleaded guilty to the charge at Chelmsford Crown Court today. He'll be sentenced next year.
Police are hunting vandals who've sprayed graffiti over Cromer's famous beach huts. Nightly patrols are being stepped up along the resort's East Promenade in the hope of catching the culprits. Locals say they're extremely upset the huts have been targeted again.
I think it's sad why people can't leave things alone on such a beautiful beach as this and a lovely area such as Cromer. It's just a shame to me, you know, but that seems to be modern-day society, doesn't it?
People in Norwich are being asked to do their bit to help transform the River Wensum.
Yes, earlier this year a campaign was launched to carry out a makeover on what organisers see as one of the city's hidden gems. Now local businesses are also being asked to get involved, as Malcolm Robertson now reports.
It's regarded as a forgotten asset. Flowing through the heart of Norwich, the River Wensum has proved a vital component in the city's economic fortunes. But those involved in promoting the city feel it could be better used as a reflection of Norwich's past prosperity, but also a sign of a progressive future.
The Anglo-Saxons and Vikings came up the river and founded the city on it. The Normans, for instance, built this canal to take Kong stone from Normandy up to build the cathedral. It made Norwich the centre for European textile trade up to the 1780s. It was a vitally important thing for Norwich.
They're hoping local people and businesses will get involved and help develop it further. This is the only stretch of the Wensum in Norwich where you can't walk along the water's edge, so the plan would be to create a 300-metre footpath, and that would be the final piece in the jigsaw, a 6-mile riverside walk all the way through the centre of the city. How it appears in years to come will look quite different to its industrial past.
We see its potential for the future of Norwich in terms of recreation and culture and historical cultural activities, but also sporting, recreational activities, fishing, boating. We'd like to see a lot more boats on the river.
It's an ambitious project that aims to balance the need to protect the river's heritage and wildlife, but at the same time go with a more modern flow. Malcolm Robertson, Anglia News, Norwich.
Norwich, Ipswich and Cambridge have some of the safest roads in the country, according to new figures. All three featured in the top 10 of a list of towns and cities with fewest crashes over the past year. The stats were compiled by insurance company Ensley, based on the number of claims made in each place. Sport now, and Ipswich Town have taken a significant step on their road to recovery in the Championship.
Victory at the weekend means they're out of the bottom three for the first time since August. And how significant will the results from our League One teams become the end of the season? Well, Donovan Blake can tell us.
John Stead had failed tonight at Portman Road with a goal in his previous 7 appearances, but it took him just 32 seconds to change that statistic as Ipswich got off to a flyer against Blackpool. And having watched his side draw a blank in 3 of their last 4 games, Roy Keane was pleased to see the net bulge 3 times in one afternoon. Jack Colback getting Town's second, and Gareth Macaulay's second-half header settled the nerves after Blackpool pulled a goal back. Peterborough couldn't repeat what they achieved at Ipswich in midweek. They gave themselves a chance by coming from 2 goals down at Coventry, Craig McHale-Smith scoring twice, but their defending at set pieces was punished, Freddie Eastwood with a hat-trick. Now, if you score 3 goals away from home, you'd half expect to win rather than draw, but Norwich had to settle for the latter. They had led 2-1 at Yeovil, with Chris Martin and Gary Doherty on target, but the home side turned things around and actually led 3-2 in stoppage time before Doherty touched in Russell Martin's shot for a dramatic equaliser.
Bit disappointing to lose 3 goals ourselves, considering the way we've been playing. But as I said, a great never say die attitude to get us the point.
That draw kept Norwich ahead of Colchester in League One on goal difference. The U's keeping up their promotion push by beating Brighton on Friday night. Phil Eiffel with a goal and an assist in their 2-1 win. No doubt about comeback of the weekend. That was at Southend, who looked dead and buried at half-time against Hartlepool. Francis Laurent's header changed the momentum after they trailed 2-0. And then Lee Barnard grabbed 2 more goals, his second also a header, to seal a sensational home win. Donovan Blake, Anglia News.
Loads of goals. They're great value if you're a football fan going to watch the footy this weekend.
Well, meanwhile, in Formula One, Norfolk-based Lotus have announced their driver lineup for next season. The Hingham-based team have snapped up the Italian Jarno Trulli and Heikki Kovalainen from Finland ahead of their return to the top tier of motorsport. Trulli, who used to drive for Jordan, he's on the right here, joins from Toyota. Kovalainen has left McLaren, where he's been replaced by world champion Jenson Button.
Well, next, the